Look, I know you guys just want to plant some seeds, but there's so many options out there on how to get started with it. So in this video, I'm actually going to show you a very simple and easy seed starting soil mix that you can use. Hi, this is Jeremy Stark here with Green Thumb Gardener, here to give you some tips, tutorials, and reviews for all your gardening needs. In today's video, we're going to go over just a very simple seed starting mix. Now, basically, there are some out there that you can get in the store. I'll put a link down there. You know, if you don't want to, if you're not really certain of the recipe, or if the recipe I give you, it's a little too complicated for you. There's nothing wrong with actually using the stuff that's in the store. But if you're like me, you like to do everything yourself, and you also like to just try new things and try things out. So basically, I'm going to give you a very simple recipe that I use to get my seeds started. I just want to let you know that you might actually Google some of this stuff, and you might go out there, and they're going to tell you all this stuff that you have to have. The seed mix has to be microwaved or oven, all this stuff to kill off everything. I'll be honest with you, just a full disclosure is I don't do any of that stuff. I'm not saying that it's wrong or that you could potentially have problems with it. But in my gardening kind of way that I do things, I try to keep things very simple, and it still works for me. One of the reasons why I'm like that is because I believe in survival of the fittest. And that basically means that if the vegetables, the seeds, are put under some type of stress when they're just beginning their life and they survive and they grow, I mean, that's great for them. Now, I know people are going to say, well, you want to give them the best this and that, and to give them a good starting chance. And yeah, that's well and good too, and that's fine, and that's a great way to think of gardening. But for me, it's like I just try to think of like simple, and it also happens to line up with how nature is, because nature is not always going to have this cushy little thing with all these nothing microbes in it and everything else for it. This is probably one of the most simplest ways, other than going to buy the bag at the store. Let's not dabble in that too much. I wanted to get right into it, and I'll show you the mix that I use. Before we get started, if you could also give us a green thumbs up, let us know that we're making good content for you. Also, if you could hit that subscribe button down below and hit the bell so that you get notified of any of the videos that we do post. Also, we do have a website, and I'll post a link down at the bottom that also has possibly a blog post that will have this particular recipe in there that you can refer to as well. But let's get right into the show. So now that we want to get started, we want I wanted to go over the actual recipe that I use for my potting kind of mix, my seed starting mix. But I also want to introduce my little helper over here. She's going to help me do some mixing. So tell everybody what your name is.
My name is Claire.
She's our little green thumb gardener here. So basically, what you need is a very simple mix for this. Like I said, we don't really make things too complicated. We don't try to do anything too fancy, but we just like to at least get started and to give the plants the best shot that they can have with it. So that being said, I like to make my own mix. You can also get your own mix at the store, as I said before. You basically want to look for a seed starting mix, and if you look on the back of the package, it's going to have pretty much the same stuff that we're using here. So basically the main ingredient that we're going to be using is peat moss. Now you can find this at all of your gardening stores. It's usually compressed. It's in these huge bins. You can also get smaller bags of it. Basically, it's basically this sphagnum peat moss that it gets shredded down, and it's very just good for starting seeds because it just absorbs the water. It basically doesn't have any nutrients in it. It's very dead, but it's very light, and it's perfect for starting your seeds. The other option you can use is this coconut stuff. I do see it sometimes in the store. It is very expensive. You can order online. I'll put a link in there in the show notes if you want to see that as well. But we're going to use basically the peat moss because I actually throw this stuff in my garden too because I'm actually starting another bed. So I thought this would be good to show you guys. The other ingredient that you're going to need it's called vermiculite. And basically, you can find these at your local stores as well. And what this is basically just a crushed, it's a kind of like a rock, I believe, or something like that. That basically it holds the water in the actual medium. It's similar to perlite, which is another. It's basically another type of agent that basically holds water in there, and that's really important when you're doing the seed, starting the seeds, because you don't want it to dry out as fast. So we're going to use this in the mix as well. The other ingredient you need is, I have it here in my little teaspoon thing. It's called lime. It's basically your run-of-the-mill garden lime that you can find at the stores as well. All right, so let's get started. So the recipe itself actually is basically very simple to do. What I do is I do 4 parts of anything. So, if you want to do 4 of these, basically that would be one of these would be 1 part. And this is just one of those yogurt containers. So I basically, in here, it's 4 cups. Okay, so in this we're using 4 cups. So what I did is I just filled this bucket up. I believe I did about 2 gallons worth of it. So what we're going to need is 4 of these in here. So what we'll do is so the recipe basically is 4 parts of peat moss to 1 part of vermiculite, and then we're also going to add a half a teaspoon of lime in here. So it's actually 1/4 of a teaspoon per gallon is what you want to have, and give or take minus all that. But basically that's the recipe, and what I'll do is I'll put it right down in the show notes as well, so you know that exactly. So all right, let's get started. So we need to fill these cups up, honey, with 4 of those. So maybe if I can help pour it, how do I do that? I'll pour it in there, and you can put it inside. And try not to make a mess when we're doing this. I'll probably be the one to make the mess, though. All right, get it right in there, honey. There we go. There's 1. So Claire, do you like gardening?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your favorite part of gardening?
To get messy.
To get messy. She likes to get her hands dirty too. All right. So this is number 3. Yeah, this stuff can be a little dusty, so try not to breathe it in. And we got our last one here, 4. All right. All right. So then the next thing we're going to add in here is for this recipe, we're putting in a half a teaspoon of lime. All right. So another thing you want to know, and you can go ahead and mix that around, honey. The other thing you want to be aware of is that the peat moss is going to be really dry. So you can add just a little bit of water to it, just so that it's not completely dry. It's not really necessary, but it does help if you don't want it too dry with this. And you can actually use your hands. Now that we get the lime all mixed up, I'm gonna just kind of use my hands a little bit to really get this to the bottom, because you want to mix it up really well. There we go. Now, just so you know, what the lime does for this is that the peat moss is pretty acidic, so the lime will just kind of help balance it out, because you basically want it neutral. So just that enough, enough of that lime will be enough to balance it out, to make it a neutral thing. Now you'll see some people will recommend that you bake the peat moss or you microwave it. Yeah, I honestly don't recommend that. Peat moss will actually burn in your oven if it's not moist. And I just really don't think it's necessary. And the reason why they do that is because they want to kill off any kind of bacterial things. And that's understood, I can totally get that. But the chances of you having a bag that contains a lot of bacterial is probably not, the chances are not great. So I have been doing this, and I've never really had any problem with any kind of bacterial things. Now, I'm not saying that it won't happen, but the chances of it happening are not that great. How's it looking there, honey?
Good.
Looks good. All right, and then this stuff, basically, this stuff will be enough to fill up a lot of trays, the amount that we're doing. So what you want to do is, if you want, you can scale this back so you don't have as much. But just basically use the same kind of part recipe, that I'll put in the show notes so that you know what it is. So let's just show everybody what you do to fill up a seed tray over here. So we're gonna just fill up this little one right here. And this is what I'm talking about. If you get these little seed trays here that are basically in your garden center, I don't mind these. I have a ton of them, so I just use them. But you don't even need the seed tray. You can just use these particular trays and do all your planting in there. But just to show you how much this stuff will, I think you just need 1 cup, honey. Maybe 1 or 2 cups, I think, is going to be enough to fill everything. Just so you get an idea of what it will fill up, in here. Yeah, just get in there. Just throw it on. There you go. See, now we're getting dirty. All right, let me get another cup for you. All right, so I think probably like 4 or 5 of these cups is probably what would fill up an actual seed tray, with enough of this. Let me see. So what was that, 2? Yeah, let's start back here. Let's do this first. Let me help out. You can help jigging it around. There you go. So I think this is our third. Is that our 3rd cup? So probably 4 cups of this. So 4 of these actual cups is enough to fill up a seed tray. So, obviously if you only got 1 seed tray, then you might not want to need this. But I actually keep this around. You can just, I would just put on it that you use this for your seed mix, and then just, put a cap on it or something. We use the big gallon things that you can find at the store as well to store a lot of our stuff. So hopefully this recipe will help you out. Let us know in the comments below if what you're planting in your little seed thing for this year. Please give us a green thumbs up and let us know that we're doing a good job. Also, what should they do, honey? Should they subscribe?
They should do both.
She said do both. So subscribe below and make sure you hit that bell. And as always, we thank you for watching.